Briana Aldridge joined by Patrik Walker to break down this 49ers versus Cowboys matchup, the one that was circled probably for this team before the season even started. But both these teams, did you picture them being 3-3, 3-4, banged up?
No, anyone who claims that looking at this schedule in April when it was released, that they would be looking at a 3-4 49ers team versus a 3-3 Cowboys team in prime time, give me the lottery numbers because you've got it all figured out. So no, both teams are really banged up. Both teams are struggling in particular facets of the game. So it's going to be interesting to see which team uses the other team to right their ship on this Sunday.
So injuries is the theme for both sides, but sticking with the Cowboys, Micah Parsons, I think, is a big one that everyone's keeping an eye on because we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. We thought maybe they were just saving him, getting him healthy for this big game, but talking to him earlier this week, he might not be a go.
Yeah, it's as Micah Parsons said, it's quote-unquote still in the air. And that's the tone that's being carried by Mike McCarthy as well. It's the tone that's being carried by the organization. They're being really careful and precautious when it comes to that high ankle sprain on Micah Parsons because although they are 3-3, it is still a long season. There are still 11 games left in this regular season, so you're going to need him for the long haul. And if you rush him back out there and you suffer a setback, how many more games might you be without him? So right now it's 50-50. Jerry Jones said that it's going to be a game-time decision, and I think the same is going to be true for DaRon Bland as well, although for DaRon Bland, who was close to making his return from IR against the Lions, he had a little bit of soreness, not a significant setback, but enough where they said, let's give this a bye week so you get more rest and more rehab. So Bland has a better chance than Micah, but both at least have a shot right now.
When you're looking at all the injuries from the Cowboys-wise, who is going to make the biggest difference come Sunday in your mind?
As far as who might show up and be able to play, for me, it's going to be Micah Parsons. And, you know, with DaRon Bland, obviously you're talking about issues in the secondary. Kalen Carson, he's still with the rehab team today, Wednesday. We don't know if he's going to return yet. He's already missed the last 2 games with a shoulder injury. But you have Amani Oruwariye, so he's there. You have that. But when you talk about the lack of pass rush that the Cowboys have been able to generate or not been able to generate, you really need Micah Parsons out there because Brock Purdy is behind an offensive line that outside of Trent Williams is allowing a lot of pressure. He's been sacked 13 times this season. It's led to 7 interceptions to only 9 touchdowns. You want to get in Brock Purdy's face, especially with his key receivers like Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey not playing. Pressure Purdy. So for me, it's got to be Micah Parsons.
Cowboys don't have a lot of luck when you're talking about the 49er team. How much does this bye week help or does it hurt, in your opinion, when you're going against the Niners? Does it matter?
It matters. It can only help. It can only help when you're talking about a team that's as banged up as the Cowboys. And again, the 49ers are banged up as well. But when you talk about the Cowboys, you're down Micah Parsons. DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR. Brandon Cooks is on IR. Kalen Carson, we talked about him. DaRon Bland has that added week during the bye week to recover, heal, and maybe take the field. So from an injury standpoint alone, this bye week could not have come at a better time for the Cowboys. So it does matter. Also gives them 2 weeks to prepare for the 49ers. But let's not pretend the 49ers are not the boogeyman here in Dallas. So until the Cowboys show that they can defeat that team, there's always going to be the scale slid to San Francisco.
Now, after that horrific loss to the Lions going in, that was the headline nationally.
Nice
horrific? That's
yeah,
nice.
That's nice.
That's nice.
It was worse than that.
But that's really like been the talk. I feel like, how do you feel if they beat the Niners? Does that conversation shift? You know how it is, right? When I feel like it's going to be a Super Bowl team if they beat this Niners team, even them banged up. But how much does it help just this organization to get that win on the road against the Niners?
It won't change the narrative as far as are the Cowboys a contender. They won't suddenly be a contender at 4-3 despite who they got the 4th win against, which be the San Francisco 49ers, because 3 losses at home, all of those being blowouts and humiliations. Ravens, they kind of fought back, but nonetheless, they're going to need to stack wins, and they need to use the 49ers as the launching pad to do that. Will it help the optimism? Absolutely, but don't pencil them into the Super Bowl if they, in fact, go beat the 49ers. You need to do more than just that.
This run game came up today in the presser. I feel like comes up every practice. How do you get it going? He said today, McCarthy said today, Pittsburgh was really the last time you saw the rhythm with that. Is that something that they can get back to? Because I think Zeke having most of the touches in the first half was confusing, and then just the run, just everything was just, I feel like the Lions game you can't really pick apart, but Can they get to what was seen against Pittsburgh?
Well, first and foremost, you have to stop allowing teams to make you one-dimensional, and that is to say, when you're on defense, get off to a fast start and hold teams out of the red zone, keep them out of the end zone. When you're talking to Cowboys offense, you need to score points on these long drives. They have 11 drives this season of 10 or more plays, but they only have 5 touchdowns on those. So if you can keep it a two-dimensional game, that will help your run defense and you won't run offense, and you won't have to abandon it going forward.
All right, last question. Who you got? Niners, Cowboys? I feel like sometimes you be kind of spot on. So
I feel like this is a team in the 49ers. Again, they're injured. They're kind of reeling, but then so are the Cowboys. I feel like the Cowboys can get over this hump on Sunday against the Niners. But objectively speaking, until you beat the boogeyman, you haven't beaten the boogeyman. So I'm going to take 49ers in this one until the Cowboys show me that they can beat Kyle Shanahan and his offense.
And I just hope you're wrong, just because I want the vibe to be different at the Star for the following look for us. That's kind of selfish, I guess. Yeah, that's it. For Pat Walker, for Briana Aldridge.